Ever since he got added back to the active roster about a month and a half ago, so many Ravens fans been wondering, hey, what's going on with Keaton Mitchell? Why is Keaton Mitchell keep being inactive? When is he going to get more involved in the Baltimore Ravens offense? Well, we got our answer from John Harbaugh yesterday. We about to talk about that and a whole lot more. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and leave a like on the video because it helps out a ton. So we know Keaton Mitchell has been back for a minute, but how did it even lead up to this point where his playing time has been questioned? His lack of involvement has been a concern for so many Ravens fans. Well, let's go back for a minute before we go forward, because we remember Keaton Mitchell last year as an undrafted rookie free agent. Killed it, destroyed it, was amazing, and he was like that. He was one of them guys. He was making explosive play after explosive play with, I don't want to say a lack of touches, but he didn't need many touches to make an explosive play because he was just amazing like that. So the season kept going on, and like every game, he just kept making play after play after play, but then toward the end of the season, he got hurt. He had a devastating injury, and that injury knocked him out not only for the rest of last season, but it took a portion of this season as well. And so many Ravens fans knew. So many of y'all knew. I remember looking at the comment section last year when his injury happened that a lot of y'all were calling. They were like, oh, man, this is going to mess him up for next year, too. He ain't going to be able to recover in time to be ready for the beginning of next year. He's going to miss a chunk of the regular season in 2024, and that's exactly what happened. But Keaton Mitchell recovered. He recovered, and then he was activated early on in November. But they didn't really have him on offense. He had like a couple of plays on offense, but that was really it. He was primarily a kick returner. And what the Baltimore Ravens did, even before Keaton Mitchell got back, they signed Derrick Henry. They still had Justice Hill, and they drafted Rasheen Ali. And we understood why they drafted Rasheen Ali, because he was going to be sort of a placeholder until Keaton Mitchell got back. So that was a solid draft pick, and it made sense. So I was thinking the whole time, once they drafted Rasheen Ali, especially when he got hurt early on in the season and he got put on injury reserve, I was thinking, oh, okay. So Rasheen Ali, even when they activated him back from injury reserve, I was thinking, all right, Rasheen Ali, he's just going to hold it down for Keaton Mitchell. And when Keaton Mitchell comes back, he's going to have some phantom injury where he goes on injury reserve because they need the roster spot for Keaton Mitchell. And they remember what Keaton Mitchell did last year. But the Baltimore Ravens didn't do that. Because when Keaton Mitchell was added to the active roster, they kept Rasheen Ali around, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. I guess they want to ease Keaton Mitchell back in, because I knew they weren't just going to throw him in the fire like, all right, you're going to be on offense, and you're going to be going off like you were last year. I knew they weren't going to do that, but still, I thought, because roster spots are very valuable, I did not think that they were going to continue to keep Rasheen Ali around, but it proved to be a wise move, because with Rasheen Ali, him being on the roster, it allowed Keaton Mitchell to sort of just get right. And Harbaugh did say that Keaton Mitchell had some minor setbacks. He said he wasn't all the way healthy yet, so then they had him inactive. But then, unfortunately, with the Justice Hill injury, them keeping Rasheen Ali around, it ends up, I don't want to say working out, but it ends up working out for the team that they have Rasheen Ali and now Keaton Mitchell available. So John Harbaugh did say, like, hey, Keaton Mitchell, he is going to be ready for this game against the Texans on Wednesday. Just a couple of days. Ravens, that's a crazy turnaround, man. That is such a crazy turnaround. You got a game on Saturday, and then literally the very next day, after the game on Saturday, they were practicing. It was more so a light walkthrough, but still, I'm like, man, you just played on Saturday. You practicing on Sunday, getting ready for the next. Oh, it's crazy, man. So shout out to all of them. But Keaton Mitchell, now with him having not played in the past couple of games, because he was inactive, I know, in the Eagles game. I believe he was inactive in the Giants game, and he was, of course, inactive in the Steelers game. So he came back, and yeah, while he was a kick returner, he's pretty much fresh. He's very fresh because he didn't really do too much of anything for the Baltimore Ravens since he's been back, and for the past couple of games, he's been inactive. So you get a very fresh, and it should be a very healthy Keaton Mitchell to help you against these Houston Texans. So I expect him to have a big role. Like, I really do, because obviously Derrick Henry, he's going to do his thing. But now get this, with Keaton Mitchell, how he sort of changes this Baltimore Ravens offense. We knew before, like, if Derrick Henry's on the field, 99% of the time, or I would say now with Derrick Henry on the field, I would say maybe it's like a 87% chance that we know it's going to be a run. With that 13% chance, there's a play action, there's RPO stuff and all that, but 87% of the time now we know with Derrick Henry on the field is going to be a run. And with Justice Hill, I would say probably about 95% of the time he's on the field it's going to be a pass. Because, again, there's that 5% chance that Justice Hill could run. They could do like a draw play or something like that. But now that gets a little thrown off for defenses. Why? Because Derrick Henry, he's still going to be on the field a lot. But when Derrick Henry's not on the field, you got a Keaton Mitchell. You got a Rasheen Ali. And it's like, oh, okay, we don't have much film on those guys, so we don't exactly know what's coming. I'm sure they're going to assume a lot of time, oh, it's going to be a pass, Derrick Henry's off the field. But at the same time, especially with a Keaton Mitchell, you remember what he did last year. You remember what he can do. And he is like, I always thought this when we first signed Derrick Henry, thought that Keaton Mitchell was a perfect complementary back for Derrick Henry. He was the perfect change of pace back for Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry, as we know, he's an explosive running back, but he's a different kind of explosive. He's keep giving them opportunities, and he'll end up knocking somebody out. He'll end up running somebody over. He put a little move on somebody too. Don't sleep on Derrick Henry's agility. But with Keaton Mitchell, he's like lightning in a bottle, man. Just ready to explode at any given second, man. Ready to take off on any given play. So we're looking forward to seeing Keaton Mitchell. I hate that it's come to these circumstances. I hate that it is because of the circumstances with Justice Hill. And when Justice Hill went out in the game against the Steelers the other night, it's crazy because it came off a big play. And that's what Justice Hill's been doing this year. He just been making play after play after play. We love Justice Hill, man. That dude is a baller. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for what he does. He does get a lot of credit, but I still don't feel like he gets enough, because Justice Hill, he just comes in, does what he got to do, makes plays, and that's that. So we hate that the circumstances had to be like this, but he will have a chance to play in the next game against I want to say it's the Browns. Yeah, against the Browns, last game of the season. But let Justice Hill get right for the playoffs, whether he comes back week 18 or whether he comes back for that first playoff game. Let him get right for that. And it's good that the Baltimore Ravens not only kept Keaton Mitchell around, but they kept Rasheen Ali around, so that helps their depth as well. Now we reach my favorite part of these videos, where we get to feature your questions. If you would ever like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com, or for the Team Keep It Clean patrons. And if you would like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids, and you can send your question directly on Patreon. Or if you want to send it in another type of way, you can send it directly to our P.O. Box. The address is down below in the description, as are a whole lot of other ways that you want to support the channel. We got a whole lot of questions, and my apologies in advance, because I don't know if we're going to be able to cover all the questions before the game on Wednesday. Just know your question will be answered eventually, but if it's before Wednesday, it's tight. It's a tight squeeze there, so my apologies in advance if we can't, but you know that I still love y'all. First, before we actually get into the questions, I got to give a special shout out to the newest Team Keep It Clean patron. Shout out to Lexus M. Lexus, appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. But Lexus they decided they wanted to just show support. They didn't want to even send in a question, which is fine too. We still appreciate it. But let's get into our first question from a Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy, Hoodie Megatron. He said, hey, like Tom Brady says, let's Lamar field goals. No, love field goals. That's what we're going to say that LFG stands for. Love field goals, even though we don't. I mean, we love when we make field goals, especially now with what happened before. But anyway, he said, but they did exactly what they've been preaching, winning at its finest. Now, on to this game against the Texans. Also, I know he's not a Raven, but prayers up to Tank Dell, man. Had a nasty injury today, and prayers up to CJ, man. Seen him crying on TV, and I feel for him. That's tough, man. That's really, really tough, man. I didn't see the injury, but I heard about it. I didn't even watch the replay of the game. Because, I was so focused on the Ravens that day. But I kept hearing about it on Twitter and stuff. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I know they said he had to go to a local hospital. So, yeah, hopefully he'll be straight. Next question came from another Team Keep It Clean page. My guy, Mike 51. He said, hey, Ingraven, it's me again. As always, my prayers for you and your family. This really burns me up. I've been sitting here listening to Shannon and Ocho after our crushing defeat of the Steelers, and they are saying how Josh is doing more with less. They seem to forget that Lamar was doing this without Derrick Henry. He's literally done more with less his entire career. That's a very, very good point. He said, except for this year, give me a break, and like the common sense of these analysts, I'm out. Look, it's Josh Allen's award, man. I think it should go to Lamar Jackson, but again, it's Josh Allen's award. He already pretty much got it, because I've been seeing people post a picture from his game yesterday where he had I think it was like 16 for 29, something. It wasn't nothing crazy, but he threw one touchdown, threw one interception, but in the graphic, they only showed that Josh Allen threw 1 touchdown. They didn't even include his interception in the graphic. And I was like, whoa, that's what you're doing? Oh, my God. But it's Josh Allen's to lose again. I don't think that Lamar, not that he don't have a chance to win it, but the NFL, they really pushing this Josh Allen. Oh, that was the thing. With the, you know how when Lamar, especially him going against the Steelers, with the division on the line, with the Ravens having a chance to get into the playoffs, would this be considered a big game? Because I know there have been a lot of, there have actually been some of y'all too. And it's been unfortunate that when people say, oh, Lamar can't win a big game. Lamar, he does bad in big games. And I've been like, why is this even a narrative? That's false. Would this Steelers game the other day be considered a big game? But anyway, that in this game, it's so many times when they'll be like, oh, Lamar, he doesn't have those defining moments. He doesn't have those game-changing plays. He doesn't play well in the big games and whatnot. And if he would have lost this game, oh, you would have seen it all over TV. They would have been tearing him down. You would have seen all these clips. Oh, Lamar Jackson, he loses another big game. Can't do this, can't do that. But you didn't see none of that. But what made it worse, how you could tell this is Josh Allen's award, man. He got it already. Is the fact that after this, Lamar Jackson, 3 touchdowns against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1 interception, 2. But he did his thing. Ravens won, and they won in a dominant fashion. But all of a sudden, is it coincidence? I don't know, baby. I don't know. But it came out, they said, oh, Josh Allen's been playing with a broken finger on his non-throwing hand all year, something like that. And I was like, really? Y'all waited. Is it coincidence that it's after Lamar Jackson? I don't know. But I'm like, really, y'all? Next question came from my guy Caleb. He said, Ingraven, I haven't seen the question here in a while. Yeah, I ain't seen your profile picture in a minute. He said, with the Ravens sitting at 10-5, I'm confident in our mindset when it comes to the playoffs. I personally believe Lamar could care less about winning the 3rd MVP of his career. I believe his eyes are set on the prize and winning his first Super Bowl. Well, yeah, I do think that's true. I mean, another MVP would be nice, and I think he does deserve it, but like we talked about earlier, it ain't happening most likely. He said, unfortunately, the Ravens have had this to their name when they are a great regular season team, but not so a good playoff team. With the way it's looking, I hope it goes the other way around. Struggling in the regular season to starting off with 0-2 and then end up losing 5 games to then being a great playoff team. I thought at first the Ravens were saving Derrick Henry's legs for the playoffs, but then they ended up giving him 25 carries versus the Steelers, so I was wrong on that. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I think it's just a game-by-game basis. I don't think they necessarily were saving them or keeping them fresh for the playoffs. It's just game-by-game basis. There's sometimes when Ravens forget about Derrick Henry. There's sometimes when Ravens don't need Derrick Henry as much, so it all just depends. He said also with the Justice, he'll definitely be out Wednesday versus the Texans. I'm hopeful that Keaton Mitchell is ready to ramp up. Also, Bateman didn't really look the same except for that touchdown. If Aguilar is back, I wouldn't be afraid to sit Bate for this game to ensure he's good for the playoffs. I think Bateman's still going to play. I get what you're saying, though, because you want Bateman all the way right, especially since we're in the playoffs now. You want the Rashad Bateman that we've been seeing a lot of times this season, so I feel you on that. He said, God bless you, my friend. I hope the family is doing well. And remember, the storm will not last forever, and the blessing won't last forever. There's always a new season when it comes to life. Keep pushing and keep pressing. Appreciate that, Caleb. The NFL needs to start with this narrative. Next question came from my guy, Recon Marine, 0311. He said, great win by the Ravens. Feed King Henry. I saw a post on IG stories from Ian Rappaport saying Josh Allen is playing with a broken hand. Oh, see, there it is. He said, I never saw Josh on an injury report for a hand injury. It's crazy how it was after the Ravens beat the Steelers and LJ had a good game. The interception was a miscommunication with Bate. The NFL needs to stop forcing the narrative and let the players and everyone vote fairly. You know that's not happening, my friend. Next question came from my guy Jalen. He said, what's up, Ing? Hope all is well with you and the family. Oh, yeah, everything is good. I appreciate you. He said, I couldn't help but notice how much it mattered that Lamar got to play this game in the bank. I feel like if this game was in Pittsburgh, those turnovers would have been huge momentum swings that tend to cause the Ravens to start shooting themselves in the foot. What do you think? No, I mean, wherever you play, whether you at the crib, whether you at an away game, wherever you play, turnovers are always bad. So I'm glad that with the Baltimore Ravens, they were able to minimize the turnovers. Yeah, there was the interception. Did they have any? I don't think they had any. Yeah, they ain't had no turnovers on fumbles, I don't believe, because I know Desmond King, he fumbled a couple times. They ain't lose those, though. And then Lamar had the fumble on a sack strip, but they didn't lose that either. So the turnovers were at a minimum, and that makes all the difference no matter where you're playing it. Next question came from my guy Justin D. He said, hey, boss, first and foremost, what a win, a complete effort that we've been waiting to see all year against a quality opponent, no less. Oh, for sure. Because it started off close as we expected, but then the Ravens, they start taking off. And they almost looked back. When there was that interception, they almost looked back, but after Marlon Humphrey got the pick six, they never looked back. He said, anyway, other than the first fumble where Stanley got smoked, the miscommunication with Lamar and Bateman, and the special teams errors, great game from those faces. It's funny that he say that. Well, other than that, and other than that, and other than that too, Great game from those phases, but nah, I feel you. He said the defense was on point, holding a division rival to 17 is as good as it gets. My question today is, where did you get that sweet mini scoreboard cycle, that thing we've been digging for the past few months? Oh, that's your question, man. It's from Amazon. That's it. He said, shout out to you and the fam. Hope you all are happy and healthy and look forward to continue to see you succeed. Much love, brother. Appreciate you, Jay. Next question came from another team, keep it clean, Patron, my guy Keyonte. He said, coming back with a what if Kyle Pitts is a 6'6" tight end, and he put tight end like this, who ran a 4'4". Mark Andrews is our big body receiver, right? Well, let's go get another one who can play both wide receiver and tight end. Even though we don't need another tight end, he could be converted. I see what you're saying. If he became a free agent and they could get him on a low risk deal and they were gonna transition him to being a wide receiver, okay, you could try it, but you could try it, whatever. Cause you got Bait and Zay. I would rather them bank on somebody who is a wide receiver already and do that additionally. I wouldn't have no problem with that. But just to bank on him being your new big body wide receiver, whatnot, then I would say no. Next question came from another team, keep it clean, Patron, my guy Omar. He said, hey, Ingraven, hope everything is well for you. There was so many positives to take away from that Steelers game. First and foremost, getting the win. That's the most important thing. Boom, spot on. He said the Ravens have won games this season without playing their best, and they did it again against the Steelers. That's the mark of Super Bowl caliber team, because when they're playing their best football, they're almost unbeatable. That's true. But that's why you play against other teams, because they're going to try to stop you from playing your best. He said, let's give a shout out to Roger Rosengarten. I'm not sure how he graded for the coaches, but I do know that TJ Watt didn't make any game-changing splash plays, so he definitely did his job. That's true. The Lamar interception didn't upset me. I had a feeling that at some point during the season, he'd throw a bad pick, even though it seemed like a miscommunication between him and Rashad Bateman. As long as it doesn't happen in the playoffs, it's all good. Hopefully, it's out of his system now. Lamar's deep pass outside the numbers to Zay Flowers was his best throw of the day. If they can nail down that timing, it will create another set of problems for opposing offenses to handle. That's a really good point, especially the situation that it was in, because Ravens had their backs against the wall. They were in their own territory, and that play completely just flipped the field position big time, and immediately too. He said the play that frustrated me was the 3rd and 1 on the first series of the third quarter when Derrick Henry got tackled for a loss. Yes, he said it felt like the Ravens were ready to take control of the game at that point, but having a punt gave the Steelers a little life. They really did, because they got to stop on the Steelers, because Steelers got the ball after halftime, but Ravens got to stop. And then that play, which they did rush a little bit, but maybe they were like, oh, Steelers, they messing up right now. They out of position right now. Maybe they were just trying to take advantage, but yeah, it just didn't work out. He said if you watch the play, the Steelers linebacker Roberts went unblocked. It wasn't a miscommunication on the offensive line. He was simply missed. When I see plays like that, I think it might not hurt to see what other options up front could do. Again, like I've been saying, we might see that for the playoffs if they want to go a 2012 route, but if not, just got to hope for the best. He said, my question to you is, if Justice Hill is out for a while, how would you approach third down situations? I know Henry can't play every one of them, but it was good to see him on the field for some. Oh, for sure. I love that. I would love to see Derrick Henry out there for more third down situations, because it can throw the defense. Just simply his presence on the field alone can throw defenses off. Like, oh, Ravens don't really use him as a third down back, but if they see him out there, then there's a possibility that the Ravens could run. So it opens up the playbook that much more, and it messes with the defense's minds that much more. He said, as always, I appreciate your insight, my brother. No, I appreciate you, my friend. Next question came from another team, keep it clean, Patron, my guy Zlager. He said, I'm sending this right after the Marlowe pick 6. I'm holding my son, and when I got up celebrating, he started laughing. Hey, I'm glad he was laughing, and he was literally laughing like Marlon Humphrey was all the way to the bank, because he cashed in the pick 6. Anyway, he said, also, as that pick that Lamar Jackson threw, as far as I'm concerned, that was his first interception. It's looking good for us right now, but there's a lot of game left, 10 minutes left. It's 3rd and 11. Well, we know how that turned out. Next question came from my guy Jarvo. He said, my post-game thoughts on a beautiful win on Saturday. I hope we get Justice Hill back, but time for Keaton Mitchell to show out now. Boom, that's true. He said, Bateman, our number 1 receiver. Hey, it's a conversation. He said, number 3, is Tucker back just in time for this Super Bowl run? I hope so. We all hope so. Number 4, he said, thank you, Ardarius, for that hit and fumble, and might have earned him a contract extension. Even if he didn't make that play, he done already earned it, because he's a good player everywhere that he plays at. Number 5, he said, Trent needs more minutes over Malik, especially in passing situations. If we basing it off of that touchdown pass, then I feel like we can't, because Malik Harrison played that like almost perfectly. Cordell Patterson just made the play, but I do see what you're saying overall. He said, didn't like our 2-minute offense or defense going into the half. Man, I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. He said, didn't like that pass call that turned into an interception, but thanks, Marlowe, for the pick 6 afterwards. Yeah, just an unfortunate set of events. He was looking for Bait, and Bait stopped running. Even Todd Monkey was like, Bait, what are you doing? So, hey, Monk can call it. He said it. So, anyway. He said penalties were good this game. Yeah, that's true. That's something that we ain't talked about enough this week. That the penalties in that game were at a minimum for the Baltimore Ravens. He said number 8, lucky bounces after fumbles. Yes, because the Ravens landed on those fumbles. The one Lamar Jackson, the Desmond King. So yeah, man. He said number 9, fed the King 80% of the time and was effective. That's true. They didn't get away from him. Lamar threat to open up running lanes for the King. Yes, that's true. Because again, his presence changes everything for running backs next to him, but especially for Derrick Henry, because teams already got to worry about him, but you got to worry about Lamar too, so that just makes it a nightmare. He said number 11, defense finally forced turnovers. They did. They forced 2. So that was great. Great win overall. Now beat the Texans by 20 so we can rest for the Browns. They might not be able to rest for the Browns, though, because Steelers, they will still have something to play for. Both the Steelers and the Ravens will still have something to play for in the last game of the season, regardless of how the games this week go. He said number 13, and give the offensive line credit for playing solid as well. Got to. This question came from my guy Conscience. He said, what's up, Ingraven? Hope you and the flock enjoyed the masterclass the Ravens blessed us with on Saturday. This game was an offense and defense. They were very balanced. Offense scored 34 points. Well, they scored 27 because Marlon Humphrey, he scored 7 of them. And he said the defense played solid and gave up 17. And I think it's the first game where Likely and Andrews scored in the same game. Is that the first game this season where they did that? Or is it the first game overall? I can't think of it off the top of my head. My apologies. He said, we were advocating that if we could get them going and on the field together. Yes, that has been a conversation for a long time. Like, the Ravens could get both of them involved in the game, the same game, because there will be games where one goes off or the other doesn't, vice versa, but both of them got involved in this one. He said, my question to you is, do you think the defense can force more turnovers, meaning more possession for our offense, and do you think our offensive line can turn it up a notch? Yeah, to both for sure. They know what's on the line. They know what's at stake. They know what they got to work on. They know what they got to improve. And with the defense, it's been huge improvements. Like, that was really the only thing left for them to start doing, was forcing more turnovers, was catching those picks, was recovering those fumbles and stuff like that. So, because the defense, after the benching of Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson, the defense has turned around a lot. And I would much rather, just me, but I would much rather the defense that we've been getting the past, 4 or 5 weeks, with them, like, holding teams to a low amount of points and not forcing as many turnovers. Then, I mean, they were when they were giving up a bunch of points and a bunch of yards, they weren't forcing many turnovers either. So I will take this defense now that we got for sure. And as far as the offensive line, yeah, we just got to hope for the best. Hope that the coaching staff, they can see the improvements that needs to be made and make them. If they're not going to make any switches on the offensive line, then yeah, we got to get these guys coached up right, because we in the playoffs now. So, but in order to get an even better playoff spot, we need that offensive line to be right against the Houston Texans, against the Cleveland Browns, and then moving forward in the postseason too. So, yeah, it's important that they do get it right, though. He said, I feel like they showed true promise against the Steelers, who have 2 dominant pass rushers. And yeah, true, but context is important too, because Alex Highsmith, we saw what he did to Ronnie Stanley in the first quarter, but with TJ Watt, he was hurt too. So he was not 100% TJ Watt, so that did impact it a lot, but still, this could be a nice little confidence boost for the Baltimore Ravens offensive line. Yeah, TJ Watt was hurt, but hey, we still stopped him. Shout out to you and the family. This Peanut, safe to say that the old Justin Tucker is close to being back. Hopefully he is. Again, that 51-yard field goal, that was okay, JT. Are you back? I can't say it yet. I can't, but hopefully he is. He said after these last 2 games, he has improved tremendously. And do you think if he keeps this up, we'll be holding that Lombardi trophy? I've been saying it for the long. Ravens are winning this year. I've been saying it for the longest. Like, we want Justin Tucker to get fixed. We definitely do, and hopefully he is now. But yeah, Ravens got that, man. He said, with that said, like the Chiefs not going to the Super Bowl, I'm out. Next question came from my guy Chauncey. He said, first question ever in approximately 4 years or what? Chauncey, what's up? Your email was broken or something? But it's okay. I'm glad you got it fixed. But no, I seriously appreciate you, man. He said, what's going on with Keaton Mitchell? With Justice being in concussion protocol in a short week, it's got to be Keaton time, right? Well, boom. I hope you watched the beginning of this video. Next question came from my guy Jay. He said, what's up, gang? What's going on, Jay? Hope all is good with you and the fam. I think I got a question here for you. Why do you think Henry doesn't jump? Self-preservation. Derrick Henry is a running back that's been doing this for a long time. And he has been very, very, very healthy. He knows how to take care of his body. He's very, very smart. He's such an efficient runner too. The last time we had such an efficient runner like that was Mark Ingram. And he was also obviously a veteran too, and a very healthy guy as well. So I think it's just self-preservation and knowing what to and what not to do and what works for him and what doesn't. He is a big guy too, so him jumping, like, I don't know if he can really get up off the ground too much, but anyway, I think that's what it is though. He said all these people are going at his legs, and if he just jumps a hair, like just a little hair, I'll see him jumping over people and getting way more yards. Yeah, like I said, I think that's it. I think it's self-preservation. He said, I know he's an old man. Oh, don't do that. Don't do a guy there here like that. He said, and so am I, but if he jumps just a little bit, he's going to jump over these defenders and roll. What do you think? What are your thoughts? As always, send love to all team. Keep it clean. Hope justice is well. Yeah, we really, really do. Thanks for being here for us. And like anybody in our way will be, I'm out. And then he put mic drop. Next question came from my guy Cameron. He said, Ingraven back for another question. The question is, how much do you think Rashad Bateman and Lamar chemistry really trusts and helps in the passing game? By the way, hope you and your family are doing good. I appreciate that, Cam. Hey, that chemistry has been everything, and it's been helping in the passing game so much, man. It has made such a big difference. I remember when they didn't have chemistry, especially last year, and it made such a big difference. And it was like, ooh, what is going on here? Will they ever get that chemistry? But this offseason, I remember in the practice reports during the training camp and stuff, they were saying, oh, Lamar Jackson and Rashad Bateman's chemistry is looking good. You're like, oh, okay. We like that. But then when we saw it in the regular season, it was like, oh my goodness. We saw it early on in the regular season. It was like, oh my God, I think the first game against the Chiefs. In order to get us down there in the first place to have a potential game-tying touchdown, Rashad Bateman made that huge catch on the sideline. And then from there, we kept seeing it increase their chemistry. So now it's at the point where it's like, oh, yeah, they got it. Yeah, they had that hiccup yesterday for sure. Or not yesterday, but on Saturday. But overall, that chemistry has been really, really good this year. Next question came from my guy TJ, who literally sent this like right now. It's 9:13, and this email came in at 9:12. He said, finish the job. God bless the family, the channel, and our Ravens. Let's go. Simple as that.